biggest sporting event on planet Earth is here, and for the first time in a generation, it is happening on American soil. The 2026 World Cup has kicked off across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And if you blinked during the opening matches, you missed history. We are talking about a record that stood for 12 years getting tied. A nation of 500,000 people taking down the champions of Europe. 7 goals in a single game. And a United States team that finally, looks like it belongs. This is everything that just happened, and why this might be the greatest World Cup the world has ever seen. Let's get into it. Let's start where it matters most for us, with the United States. For 20 years, American soccer fans have been told the same thing: close, but not quite. Talented, but soft up top. No killer instinct. Well, in their opening match of this World Cup, the USA walked onto the field in Los Angeles and put 4 goals past Paraguay. 4-1. Let that sink in. In the entire 2022 World Cup, the United States scored 3 goals total. In one game in 2026, they scored 4. It is the first time in history the USMNT has scored 4 goals in a single World Cup match. And the man leading the charge was Balogun, the striker who could have played for England, who could have played for Nigeria, chose the United States, and he repaid that fate with a clinical brace. Add Christian Pulisic pulling the strings, and a midfield that controlled the tempo from start to finish, and for the first time in a long time, this does not look like a team just happy to be there. This looks like a team with a plan. America may have finally found its number 9, and the timing could not be better. But if the USA gave us belief, Lionel Messi gave us history. In Kansas City, Argentina, the defending champions, opened their title defense against Algeria, and the greatest player of all time decided to remind everyone exactly who he is. Messi scored a hat-trick, 3 goals, his first ever World Cup hat-trick, at 38 years old. And it was not just any hat-trick. With those goals, Messi reached 16 career World Cup goals, tying the all-time men's record held by Germany's Miroslav Klose. A record that had stood since 2014. Tied by Messi on American soil. Argentina won 3-0 and looked every bit as dangerous as the side that lifted the trophy in 2022. And here is the part American fans love. The greatest goal scorer this tournament has ever seen plays his club soccer right here in the United States with Inter Miami. The GOAT is in your backyard, writing history in your stadiums. Now, a record like that does not stay safe for long, because there is a man hunting it. Over in the France camp, Kylian Mbappé is on a mission. France beat Senegal 2-0, and while the first half was flat, Senegal were honestly the better team early. The real France eventually woke up. Michael Olise slid a perfect ball into Mbappé's path, and he finished it like he always does. Then a stunning strike from distance to seal it. With that brace, Mbappé became France's all-time leading World Cup scorer. But the bigger story is this. He is now on 14 World Cup goals in just 15 games. The record is 16, the one Messi just tied. Mbappé is 27 years old. Do the math. He could break the greatest goal-scoring record in World Cup history right here in America. Think about that for a second. Messi and Mbappé, 2 of the greatest finishers to ever live, chasing the exact same record at the exact same World Cup. American fans have front row seats to one of the great individual duels in the history of the sport. If you like goals, the next one is for you. Houston, Texas. Germany versus Curaçao. On paper, a 4-time world champion against a tiny island nation playing in its first ever World Cup. In reality, a demolition. Inside 6 minutes, Felix Mecha curled one into the far corner. Then the floodgates opened. Kai Havertz scored twice. Musiala got on the board. Schlotterbeck added another. Undav came off the bench and contributed a goal and 2 assists. The final score, 7-1. 7 goals in a single World Cup game in Houston. But here is the moment that gave the night its heart. Curaçao, the smallest country by population to ever play in a World Cup, a nation of around 500,000 people, scored their first ever World Cup goal through Livano Comenencia. For one beautiful moment it was 1-1, and an entire island lost its mind. And there is an American angle most people missed. Germany's goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer, at 40 years old, just became the oldest player ever to feature for a German side at a major tournament. 40 years old, still world class, doing it in Texas. And then came the upset that broke the internet. Atlanta, Georgia, Spain, the reigning European champions, one of the favorites to win the entire tournament, against Cape Verde, World Cup debutants, a nation of roughly 529,000 people. Spain were 1,500-to-1 favorites to win, and they could not do it. Cape Verde held Spain to a 0-0 draw. At the center of it all was a 40-year-old goalkeeper named Vozinha, who produced the game of his life, making save after save after save. Overnight, he gained millions of followers. And reportedly, one bettor who put a fortune on Spain to win lost around $1 million when that final whistle blew. That is the beauty of this expanded World Cup. There are no easy games anymore. A nation of 500,000 can walk into one of America's biggest stadiums and humble a European superpower. That is why we watch. The brilliance did not stop there. Over in another fixture, Japan reminded us that this tournament is a showcase for pure skill. Against the Netherlands, Kato Nakamura scored a goal so good the broadcast practically went silent. A stunning right-footed strike, his momentum carrying him away from goal. The kind of finish you rewind 5 times in a row. Japan clutched a vital result, and Nakamura's wonder goal instantly entered the conversation for goal of the tournament. This is what the new World Cup gives you. More teams, more nations, more chances for a moment of magic from somewhere you did not expect. And speaking of magic, let's talk about Sweden. In Monterrey, they took Tunisia apart, 5-1. This was a striker masterclass. Alexander Isak scored 1 and set up 2 more. Isak Gyökeres bagged a goal and an assist of his own. 2 of the most feared strikers in world football, on the same team, on the same night, simply unplayable. And young Yasin Ayari added a brace, including a long-range strike so clean that the commentator on the U.S. broadcast screamed, "Bangers only," as it hit the net. If you love watching elite forwards do elite things, Sweden are appointment viewing. Of course, not every story was about goals. The tournament's opening match in Mexico gave us chaos of a different kind. A record-setting 3 red cards in a single game. The most ever in a World Cup match. Tempers boiled over. The referee lost control, and the whole world watched, a reminder that the pressure of this stage does strange things to even the best players. 3 reds, a record nobody was chasing, but a record all the same. Now back to the home team, because the USA's job is about to get harder. The United States is in Group D alongside Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Paraguay, handled, that was the 4-1. But while America was celebrating, the USA's next 2 opponents played each other, and the result was a warning shot. In Vancouver, Australia beat Turkey 2-0, and it was more comfortable than the scoreline suggests. Nestori Irankunda opened with a classic World Cup strike, and Connor Metcalf doubled it late. Turkey, ranked higher coming in, looked flat and never recovered. So here is the read for the USA. Australia, your next opponent, just dismantled the team most people pegged as the group's dark horse. The Socceroos are organized, dangerous on the counter, and full of confidence. The good news, Turkey looked beatable. The bad news, Australia absolutely did not. The USMNT face Australia on June 19th in Seattle, then Turkey on the 25th. If this team wants to win the group and set up a friendly path through the knockouts, those are 2 games they have to handle. Seattle just became a real test. So who actually looks the most dangerous after Matchday 1? Let's do a quick power ranking. At number 5, the host nation, the United States, purely on the strength of that 4-goal statement and home advantage. At number 4, Sweden, because any team with Isak and Gyökeres up front can beat anybody on the planet. At number 3, Germany, who looked ruthless and deep, putting 7 past their opponents without breaking a sweat. At number 2, France, because Mbappé in this kind of form is simply terrifying, and they have match winners all over the pitch. And at number 1, it has to be Argentina. Defending champions, Messi rolling back the years, and a team that knows exactly how to win a tournament. That is the early pecking order. But if Matchday 1 taught us anything, it is that the gap between the Giants and everyone else is smaller than it has ever been. So let's zoom out. Before this tournament, the critics were loud. Expanding the World Cup to 48 teams, they said, would water it down. Too many minnows, too many blowouts, boring football. Well, the early evidence says the exact opposite. Cape Verde drew with Spain. Curaçao scored against Germany. Underdogs are not just showing up, they are making history. The expanded format has given small nations a stage they have never had, and they are seizing it with both hands. And for American fans, this could not be more perfect. The drama, the upsets, the David versus Goliath storylines, this is exactly the kind of sport that hooks a new audience. This is the most fun version of the World Cup we have ever had, and it is happening in your cities. Because that is the thing to remember through all of this. Messi's hat trick happened in Kansas City. Germany's 7 goals happened in Houston. The Cape Verde shock happened in Atlanta. The USA's 4-goal statement happened in Los Angeles. This is all unfolding in American stadiums, in American cities, for American fans. For the first time since 1994. The final will be played on July 19th in New York and New Jersey. And right in the middle of it all is a United States team that, for once, looks genuinely dangerous. With home advantage on their side, there has never ever been a better time to fall in love with soccer in America. The records are falling, the underdogs are rising, the Giants are wobbling, and the whole thing is happening right outside your front door. That was Matchday 1. And if this is just the beginning, we are in for the ride of our lives. So tell me in the comments, what was your favorite moment? Messi's record, Cape Verde's miracle, or the USA finally showing up? If you enjoyed this, do me a favor and hit that like button. And subscribe to Stoppage Time, because I will be covering every single goal, every upset, and every record this World Cup throws at us. This is the greatest show on earth, and it is only getting started. I'll see you in the next one.